Right. Mm, we can get started. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you're having a good Thursday and I wish you have a good one after the end of this session as well. Let me introduce myself. My name is Murugan and I have been with Positca for around 2 years now. I am a certified Splunk consultant and I lead the Splunk technical delivery for Positca. In today's session, we will be looking at what is ITSI, why ITSI, its capabilities, and how ITSI can help an organization speed up investigation and reduce FTTR. I hope to make this session as informative as possible. And if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to ask. And you can also drop your questions in the chat box at any time. So without further ado, let's get started. So the agenda for today's session, we will look at the introduction to ITSI. We will try to understand what services and what deep dives are in the context of ITSI. We will understand what notable events are and event aggregation policies are. And followed by that, we will have a live demo where we will see all those ITSI features in action. So introduction to ITSI. Now, before we jump into ITSI, we will first look at some of the operational challenges that IT teams in any organizations face today. There are three primary challenges that they face. So the first one is the lack of service visibility. So IT teams suffer from lack of visibility into the health of their business. They also suffer from the inability to sustainably support the increasing complex environments. And they also have slower incident response and resolution time. So they predominantly use the traditional IT tools, and their traditional IT tools put the revenue, the customer experience, the employee effectiveness, and the innovation at risk. The unfortunate reality is that traditional IT tools, which was built for another decade, just aren't equipped to handle the customer-focused, increasingly hybrid and interconnected business. So there is a need for a solution that can monitor the different technologies through native integration with existing tools and help an organization understand how these different critical systems work together to become services which provide value to their customers. So Splunk ITSI is built to bring that insight. ITSI provides service context to data, which can give visibility on the dependencies. So what is IT service intelligence, or what can it do? So it can do business and service monitoring. It can monitor performance the way the business operates. ITSI can protect business service level agreements with dashboards to monitor the service health, troubleshoot alerts, and perform root cause analysis. It has intelligent incident management with which it can accelerate MPTR using real-time event correlation, automated incident response, automated incident prioritization, and integration with the IT service management tools like ServiceNow and even SOAR tools like Phantom. ITSI also has machine learning capabilities. It uses advanced analytics like anomaly detection, adaptive thresholding, and like predictive health scores to monitor KPI and prevent issues 30 minutes in advance, allowing us to be proactive and avoid downtime. So the core features of ITSI, there are basically three core features. It can do service monitoring, it can perform advanced analytics and alerting, and then it can do event management as well. So it monitors, it analyzes the data, and it creates alerts and helps you manage the alerts. So with these features, ITSI helps protect performance, availability, and by doing so, it reduces the total number of incidents by 45%. With advanced analytics, it can help reduce the alert noise by 95% and the mean time to resolution by 90% with an integrated incident management solution. It provides end-to-end visibilities. Sorry, it provides end-to-end visibility and prevent service degradation 30 minutes in advance. So with this ITSI overview, I will try to help you understand how ITSI really works. So we will start by taking a look at a technical service. So data is collected from entities. Entities here can be servers, your DNS groups, firewalls, or other devices. But you can define services any way that fits your need. So services can be host machines, of course, servers that you're monitoring. It can also be your business units. It can be a data center. So entities can be anything. So anything we want can be an entity. Anything that can help us gain better visibility into the health of the service can be an entity. So Splunk is capable of a massive data ingest. Splunk can take in all sources of data, be structured, unstructured, at rest, or in motion. So all the data can be ingested, and once the data is ingested, it is then analyzed and aggregated into KPIs. So some simple examples here are CPU utilization, network latency, or storage. Any measurement that contributes to the health of the service can be a KPI. So the KPI data is aggregated and a weighted average is calculated to create the overall service health score to represent the health of the service. So these service health score then become a quick way to visualize the health of the service that the organization can depend on, based on which the departments and the business can run. As these scores are so critical in running a real-time operation, ITSI provides real-time predictive analytics for these scores. This means that ITSI can look ahead, alert, and communicate what is likely to happen in 20 to 30 minutes ahead of time, allowing an organization to avoid outages completely. So ITSI continuously analyzes the incoming data, and should an abnormal situation occur, ITSI can trigger an alert or receive an alert from the other monitoring solutions that you have in the environment, and it can create it as an incident. So once an incident is created, immediately a service desk analyst can use the event analytic capabilities of ITSI to rapidly understand and find out the root cause of the incident. So in a nutshell, data is ingested into Splunk, and on the data points, we identify entities. So entities can be host servers, and for the servers, we identify the KPIs. KPIs can be CPU utilization, memory utilization, disk utilization, etc. So these KPIs are grouped under a single service, and weighted average is calculated for all those KPIs to identify the health of the service. So if any one of the KPIs perform poorly, the weighted average will reflect the overall health of the particular service. So that's how the ITSI service monitoring side of things work. I'll pause here for a minute to see if there is any questions. Okay. So ITSI can provide end-to-end visibility by allowing us to drill down into an incident directly from the main dashboard to investigate correlated infrastructure that could be impacting the service health. So basically, the screen that you see here is the main dashboard of ITSI. It's called the Service Analyzer dashboard, where we will be able to see all the different services and the relationship between them. So from here, we can get an end-to-end view of what is happening in the environment. We can get an end-to-end visibility to see how each and every service is performing, and if a service is performing poorly, we'll be able to see the cause. We'll be able to see the contributing KPI and understand the cause for a poor performance. So ITSI also has intelligent incident management. It provides a smarter approach to event management with real-time clustering capabilities to trigger alerts as data enters into the system. It has out-of-the-box machine learning models that help reduce alert noise by grouping them together into a single episode intelligently. So we'll take a look at all of this in action in the live demo. So next comes the services and the deep dive. So now here we'll try to understand more about what a service is and what a deep dive is in an ITSI. I mean, in ITSI. So Service Analyzer, as I mentioned, is the main dashboard of ITSI. This dashboard allows to visually correlate the services to the underlying infrastructure with the tile view or a tree view. So there are two different views. So the tree view allows us to see the relationship between the different services that we have configured. So it is a main dashboard from where we can drill down and see the different KPIs that are contributing to the health of the particular service. So ITSI also has advanced analytics and alerting capabilities. So they compromise anomaly detection, adaptive thresholding, predictive alerts, and dashboard. So we will take a look at all of these features in action. So, but a quick introduction here. So anomaly detection is basically it looks into the past performance of the particular KPI, and then it sees if there is any deviation from the expected behavior, and if there is a deviation, it creates an alert. So ITSI uses two proprietary algorithms to do the anomaly detection. Adaptive thresholding is where ITSI learns the data and it decides the threshold based on its learning. So so if the data keeps constantly changing, we cannot apply a static threshold. So adaptive threshold is the one that we need to go there. For example, if you take a look at the website requests, so the requests can be higher in number in the during the day and lower in number during the night. So we cannot have a static threshold there for to monitor the number of requests that are coming to the web server. So here an adaptive threshold is what we need to use, and adaptive threshold basically looks into the past data, understands its pattern, and then continuously calculates the threshold to understand what is normal and what is abnormal, and it alerts accordingly. And the third feature is predictive alerts. So ITSI has a predictive analytics feature where it predicts the health score and the contributing KPI for the health score. So basically, it does it predicts the score for the next 30 minutes, and it tells us the reason why it thinks that the health score will be so and so in the next 30 minutes. So we'll take a look at all of this in the live demo. So as I said, anomaly detection, ITSI uses two proprietary algorithms. So when we configure a service, we will be able to select what we want and enable. So we basically will look at the past data, and then it will tell you the recommended algorithm to go with. So we can enable the one that we want. Adaptive thresholding, again, as I mentioned, ITSI learns the data and it decides the thresholds based on what it learns. So if you see in the image, so it is a representation of a data that keeps changing, but the pattern is regular. So if we apply a static threshold, it is going to breach that threshold on a daily basis. So so with predictive analytics, with the adaptive thresholding, it creates a threshold based on the data. So it understands the data and it decides the threshold, and this calculation keeps happening continuously. And predictive analytics. So using this, we can predict the health score 30 minutes in advance to avoid any downtime. So it also has something called cause analysis. So the cause analysis will tell us why, I mean, it will tell us the top contributing KPIs that it had considered for that particular uh, health score prediction. And finally, deep dives. Deep dives in ITSI is a troubleshooting or an investigation feature where we can pull the different KPIs into a single swim lane view and analyze its trend. So basically, on the KPI searches, a time series command is applied, and the data is represented in a timeline view. So we will be able to analyze the data in real time and understand the root cause for any changes in the data. So if the service export changes based on the KPIs we pull in, we'll be able to see the contributing KPI for the particular change in the health score. So these are all the service monitoring part of ITSI. These are, I mean, these all that we covered right now talks about the service monitoring part of ITSI. So there is also another part of ITSI called the notable events and event aggregation policy. So basically, this is the alerting side of ITSI. So alerts in ITSI are called notable events, very similar to Splunk Enterprise Security. So we will have correlation searches in ITSI. So in ITSI event management, so very similar to yes, we have a dashboard called episode review. So in this episode review, we'll be able to take a look at all the incidents that has happened. We can triage the incidents, assign the incidents, take action on the incidents from here. So these incidents are basically created by correlation searches and aggregation policies. So the correlation searches basically trigger notable events, and the aggregation policies have machine learning models behind it that intelligently group multiple notable events, group multiple related notable events into a single episode for us to investigate and resolve. So this intelligent aggregation feature of ITSI, it helps reduce the alert noise and helps improve the mean time to resolution of the incidents. Then there are ITSM integrations also available with ITSI. So if you do not want to use the inbuilt event management feature of ITSI, you can also integrate third-party tools like ServiceNow and BMC Remedy, etc. So this is how the episode review dashboard will look like. So so on your left you'll be able to see all the episodes. Once you click on the episodes, you'll be able to see the details of the episode on the right. So you have actions like creating a ticket or pinging a host, or you'll if you have a SOAR platform where you can take remedial actions, you can send that event to the SOAR platform. So this is a very useful dashboard. And the ITSM integration. So you have you want to integrate it with Victrops, or if you want to integrate it with ServiceNow, that can be done. So bi-directional integration support is available with ITSM. So I'll pause here for a minute to see if there are any questions. If there are no questions, then I will jump into the live demo. So I don't see any questions, so I'll move on to the live demo. So this is the main dashboard of ITSI called the Service Analyzer. So here we can see the services that are configured in their environment and their KPIs. You'll be able to see the performance. So the colors of the tiles that you see here are predefined. So you'll see green, you'll see amber, you'll see orange, you'll see red. So red stands for critical and green stands for normal. So if a service or a KPI is performing normal, so the color, its color will be green, and if it's performing bad, then the color will change to amber and red. So the view that you are seeing is called the tile view. There is also a view called the tree view, where we'll be able to see the relationship between the services. So I filtered it down to a particular tree to take a look at the relationship. Yeah. So here the story is that there is an online e-commerce store called Buttercup Store, and there are multiple services behind the Buttercup Store. So, there is a web front end, there is a mobile app. So basically, uh, there is a website where you can go and you can purchase games, and then there is also a mobile app where you can do the same. So there are these web services and the mobile app services have dependent services called the cart services and the catalog services. And then you have a cloud database, you have authorization, and then you have your database itself. So here you can see the relationship between the infrastructure and the business. And as you can see here, the colors are varying. So at the root of it is you have the database service, and it looks like the database service has some problem, and that's why the color is in amber. So we can simply click on it to see the KPIs of this particular service and understand why the color is red. So clicking on it, we see the different KPIs, and we can see that there is a database response time. So the response time seems to be high, critical actually. So we can also see that the disk space is high. Currently, the disk space is 100, and the memory utilization is also 100. So it is very evident that from this it's very evident that the disk space and the memory utilization is the main reason why the database response time is high. And these three KPIs are the major contributing factors to the poor performance of that particular service. So we can drill down into each of these KPIs to see what or why this particular KPI or the entities behind this KPI. So we can click on the these KPIs like this, and we can see the entities. So here I just clicked on the disk space used, and we can see that there are 4 database servers. So these are the 4 entities behind this particular service. And now out of those 4, only one MySQL from 02. So this is the server that has the 100% disk utilization. So due to that 100% disk utilization, its performance is, the severity of the particular entity is high, which is impacting that particular KPI, and this KPI is affecting other KPIs, which is why the service is performing poorly. Now, what we understand from this view is very clear. So we see that the MySQL server is affected due to lack of disk space, due to which the entire database service is affected, due to which the entire business is affected. But what we don't see from here is why is the disk space utilization 100%. So in order to understand that, we will have to go into the something called the deep dives. So I've already configured a deep dive for us to take a look. So let's just open that deep dive, and I will explain that. So basically, in this deep dive, I pulled the service health score of the particular database. So for the on-prem database, I pulled the service health score, and then I pulled the different KPIs that are contributing to the particular service health score, and then some additional KPIs to understand why the service health score has gone down. So I can see that at around 6:30 a.m. the service health score seems to be fine, and since then there is a downward trend in the service health score. The database response time around 7:30 has started increasing and has been an increasing trend. And then the database errors also follow the same trend around 7 a.m., around 7:30 a.m. Where it has started going up and it has started performing poorly. And if we come further down, I can see the disk space utilization itself. So the disk space utilization around the same time has started going up and has hit 100% here. So if I want to look at individual, if I want to take a look at the performance by entities, I can edit the name overlay options, and then I can enable the lane overlay and select entities and save. So this will allow me to see the performance by entities. So the line, the yellow line that you see at the top is for MySQL2. So this is how we'll be able to even look at the performance of KPIs even bifurcating it by entities. So what we still don't understand from this view is the reason why the disk space is hit 100%. So to understand that, I've opened in some additional KPIs. So one of them is a Windows events. So we can see that there is an event around 6:30 a.m. So we can click on that event to see the details of that event. So what we see here is there is an account locked out event, and this is for the scheduled user. So this user is basically the one that runs the log rotation jobs. So since this account has, since it's got locked out, it is unable to execute the scheduled jobs. And that is the reason why it was not able to clear the logs, which is the reason for the disk space utilization. So this is just an example to understand how investigation can be done. So basically, we can pull all the KPIs together, and we'll be able to see the correlation correlation between them to understand and identify the root cause of the failure. So that's how the time-centric investigation. So this is all the service monitoring part. So now we will look into the alerts themselves. So episode review is a dashboard that we use for triaging the incidents or viewing the incidents. So this is where all the alerts are created. So we will focus on the on-prem database, the incident for the on-prem database. So you can see the incident here. So clicking on the incident loads up the details of the incident on the right side, on the right pane. So here we can click on all events to see all the contributing events to this particular episode. So basically, ITSI's aggregation policy, the intelligent aggregation policy, has identified all these different alerts, and it has related it, and it has combined it into a single alert. So in any traditional monitoring tool, all the events that you see here will be individual alerts. So if you can see here, the event count is 28. So for a single issue, there are 28 alerts that an analyst has to investigate and close. But in ITSI, all of these 28 alerts have been intelligently grouped into a single episode. So the investigation time, the mean time to resolution time, is reduced drastically through this intelligent aggregation. So from here, the status of the incident can be set to in progress, pending, resolved, etc. It can be assigned to anyone. I will assign it to myself. And if I want, I can take quick actions from here. So right now the actions are very limited, but these are configurable, customizable. So actions are available in the form of apps in Splunk base. So all you need to do is install the apps and configure the apps, and you will have the actions here. So for example, here I can send this particular event to Splunk Phantom. Splunk Phantom is a SOAR tool which can take an automated response based on a predefined condition. So if I have some response, automated response available in Phantom, I can send this event to Phantom, and Phantom will be able to execute that action in an automated fashion. So this is the highlights of the episode review dashboard. So what we have seen so far is how ITSI can help monitor and investigate, and how we can triage the alerts. But now what we need to understand now is how to create these services and how to do the alerting part. So in order to understand that, I will go into one of the services. So I'll take the web front-end service to explain that. So what you see on your left is all the different KPIs in the service. So these KPIs can be defined. So it is highly customizable. So it can be anything we want it to be. So here, for example, it's a web front-end service, and they are monitoring for the web access log for 400 errors, for 500 errors, for the bytes in, bytes out, other CPU utilization, the disk space utilization, etc. So all of these KPIs will contribute to the health score of this particular service. So a weighted average of all these KPIs is calculated. So the scores for these individual KPIs will be calculated first, and then weighted average for all these KPIs is calculated, which will represent the health score of this particular service. So we will look at one of the KPIs to understand how it is created, or rather, let's try to create a KPI. So I'll just leave the name as it is. So basically, I went to new KPI and I click next. And here is where we type in the search. So the search can be an ad hoc search or a base search, metric search, or a search based on data model. So there are a lot of best practices while configuring the search. For this example, let's just consider an ad hoc search. So basically, I type in the search here, and then I select a threshold field. So threshold field can, for example, if I want to monitor the CPU utilization, so it can be CPU usage. The threshold field can be CPU usage, and I will design the search in such a way that it returns the CPU usage. And in the next stages, I will specify the calculation, whether how often do I want this KPI search to run, whether I want it to run every minute or every 5 minutes or every 15 minutes, so on. And then what is the calculation interval? Do I want it to run for the last 5 minutes or the last 15 minutes? And what type of calculation needs to be done? Does an average needs to be calculated? Does a sum need to be calculated, or the latest value needs to be picked up? So all that calculation can be configured. So let's take a look at an example that has been done already. So here they are looking at corporate website requests. So they are looking at all the successful requests. So they're looking at a field called requests, and then the calculation is basically they are calculating the average request that aggregates over last 5 minutes for every 5 minutes. So we can edit this to understand this better. So the KPI search schedule is every 5 minutes, which means this KPI will run every 5 minutes, and the aggregation calculation is average, and the calculation window is last 5 minutes. Right. So we apply the calculation, and we specify the unit and the monitoring lag if there is any unit. So for example, if you're monitoring bytes, the unit can be bytes. If you are monitoring response time, if the unit can be milliseconds, and if you are monitoring a currency value, then it can be the unit can be the currency, like dollar or rupees, whatever, etc. So next comes the thresholding part. So thresholding, basically we can set static custom thresholds if required. So I've loaded the data for the last 7 days, and this is the website request. So for example, if I set a static threshold, so let's say the base starts from normal, and beyond 50%, I mean, if the requests are if beyond 50, then the severity should be high. So this is a static threshold. So if a static threshold is set in such a way for this particular data, which keeps changing, right? So if you can see that there are constant peaks and there are pits. So it will keep changing and you'll keep breaching the threshold every day if you apply a static threshold. So you can also apply time-based policies. So basically you can set up time and you can set up thresholds for a particular time, but even that is not going to work here. So what is going to work here is uh, adaptive thresholding. So basically, I apply adaptive thresholding, and you will see the thresholding change in a second. So you can see that it has changed. So basically, it has looked into the pattern of the data. It has understood the data pattern, and it has decided the threshold. So this way, it looks at the past data, and it looks at it understands the data, learns the data, and it keeps watching the trend of the data, and it continuously calculates the threshold. So this is what adaptive thresholding is. So basically, in a KPI, we give the search, we give the calculation, and then we apply the thresholding for the particular KPI, and then we save it. So for the entire service, if we want to map any dependencies, we can map the service dependencies here, right? And we have something called the importance values for the KPI. So these importance value are used in the weighted average calculation for the overall service health score. So some KPIs can be very critical. So those KPIs can have a higher importance. Some KPIs may not be so critical, so they can have a lower importance setting. So we decide the importance based on the severity, severity, or rather the impact of the KPI on the particular service. And that importance will be used to calculate the weighted average, which is the service health score. So we can also configure predictive analytics in the service section. So here we can select the default algorithm. So we need to understand the data. So there are two classes of algorithms. So there is regression and then there's classification. So based on the data, we select the type of algorithm we want and select the algorithm itself and build the models. So once the model is built, we can use this model for alerting purpose. So that's how we would create a service and its KPIs. So once a service and a KPI is created, you save it, and then you'll be able to see the performance of the service in the service analyzer dashboard. So this is again the service monitoring part. Now next is the alerting part. So there are three ways you can actually create alerts for your services. So there is KPI based alerting. So basically you go into the KPI and you select the KPI you want, you go into thresholding session and you enable the KPI alerting. So you can trigger it for particular changes. Say for example, if it changes from normal to high or critical, you need an alert. And then you can also set another alerting rule to alert you when it changes back from critical to normal. So this is one way of alerting, which is called like KPI alerting. Another way of alerting is through configuring correlation searches or multi KPI searches. So these are basically searches that will look for a particular condition And so basically you enter the search, it will look for a particular condition, and if that condition matches, it will trigger a notable event. So in the advanced options, we can specify the details about that notable event. So you enter the notable title, you enter the base severity, the status that you want, details like that. So basically, you create a search that looks for a condition, and if the condition matches, it triggers a notable event. So there is also something called multi-KPI searches. So this is basically a guided way to create an alert. So we select whatever service for which we want to create a multi-KPI alert. We select the KPIs that we want, and then we can save it. And then we'll have to slightly modify the search if required to, to achieve the desired result. So there are basically three ways. So you have KPI alerting, you have correlation searches, and then you have multi-KPI alerts. So all these will trigger notable events, and these notable events will get captured in the notable index, and then we configure something called the notable event aggregation policies. So by default, we have a notable event aggregation policy, which will combine, or rather it will group the episodes together. So this is the default aggregation policy that will do that. We can also create our own aggregation policies. We can set our own conditions, and when that condition matches, we'll be able to, it will group the notable events based on that condition, and we can also take actions here. So for example, if we want to change the severity to an incident in an automated way, we can do that. If you want to send that event to a phantom for an automation, we can do that. Or if you want to run a script, you want to do that. Basically, if you have a remedial action in the form of a script, you can run that script for a particular alert. So some level of automation can be achieved with ITSI. For advanced automation, we will have to leverage on automation tools like Chef Puppet or SOAR tools like Phantom. So yeah, so we have notable event aggregation policies that once created will, based on the conditions defined in the aggregation policies, it will group the notable events together intelligently into a single episode for us to investigate. And finally, the last thing that I want to show is glass tables. So glass tables is is an advanced dashboard form. So basically, we can pull details about the KPIs, the services. We can pull the performance information of all of those that have been configured, pull it onto a dashboard, map it to an image like this or a blueprint like this to, to create a nice visual view to understand the performance of the infrastructure. So you can, so if you have a blueprint of your data center, you can pull the blueprint, put it, and then you can, if you have defined services for your data center, you can plot the location of the particular service, and then highlight it in such a way that it is very easy to understand. So displaying this on a flat screen for a NOC center would be very helpful for them to monitor the particular environment or the entire data center. All right. Okay, so ITSI also has an additional infrastructure monitoring component, which is a recent addition. So earlier it was a separate this entire infrastructure monitoring was a separate app by itself. It was called Splunk App for Infrastructure. Now this has been integrated into ITSI to do the infrastructure monitoring. So basically, these are all the entities in the environment, entities or rather the servers in the environment that are being monitored. So basically, we can click onto the entities and we can look into the details of the entities. We can perform analytics. So this particular entity does not have that. So let me open a window where we can do that. Okay. So if you can see here, so there is a CPU utilization being captured, the disk utilization, there is memory utilization. So we are able to see the performance of these metrics on a timeline view to understand what is happening in the environment. So we can go into the analytics part. We can pull any metric we want. For example, CPU idle. And then if you want to create an alert, we can create an alert. There should be an option here somewhere. All right. So alerts can be created. Unfortunately, the option is not here, but we can pull all the metrics here, and if you want, we can save it as a dashboard panel. We can save this as a dashboard panel. If you want, we can export this as a PNG, export as a CSV, etc. So this is infrastructure monitoring, and if we want to add data here, we go into data integrations, and there are options for Windows, Linux. It's also integrations available with VMware. So basically, we pull metrics from your vCenter, from your vSphere server into Splunk directly. And so basically, once we go here, we will have to configure it. So if you give us the instructions to install and configure for pulling the metrics. So once we do that, the metrics will start flowing into Splunk, and these entities will get created automatically. And we can simply click on those entities, go into the details of the metrics, and do our analytics. So in ITSI, there's additionally maintenance windows. So basically, if we want to create a maintenance window to perform any maintenance activity where we don't want any alerts to be triggered in that window, we can create that. And then we also have something called teams in ITSI. So we can segregate the services into different teams, and we can configure it in such a way that one team is not able to see the services of another team. So that sort of segregation is available if we want. Right, that concludes the demo. We have some time left, so if there's any questions, I'm happy to take that. Okay. So if there are no questions, then I would conclude by saying, thanking each and every one of you for joining this session. So if you have any follow-up queries, if you want to understand more about ITSI, you can contact us at susan@pacifica.com. And we will get in touch with you to understand your requirement and talk to you based on that. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have a good day. Thank you.